Hello, my name is Stacy. Welcome to the Wild Yarrow Apothecaries podcast, where we focus mainly on herbalism, but we also talk about all things holistic health. So grab a cup of herbal tea and enjoy the show. Hello, and welcome to this podcast episode where we are going to be talking about how I regulated my nervous system. And this episode is a really big deal for me. This is my specialty. The nervous system is something that I have been studying and researching nonstop for the last 10 years because my nervous system was dysregulated. And this is what got me into the whole holistic herbal world. And so, yeah, before I go any further, though, I want to give my disclaimer that I am not a medical professional. This is all for educational purposes only. And I highly recommend that you do your own research. I also, I want to talk about some mindset stuff in this episode too. So I want to give a disclaimer that I'm not a therapist or a psychiatrist. What I'm going to be sharing with you, um, I used for my own mental health, my own nervous system, and it worked wonders on me. So maybe it's something that you could try. Maybe it's something that that would work for you and your mental health, your nervous system, or it might not, but it's things that you can try, and or maybe even do some further research on. So yeah, all right. So I have to tell you this little story, and it's going to make sense. At first, it might not make sense, but it's going to make some sense in a moment. But this year, oh my goodness, the year of 2025 has been the most hectic year of my life, I think. I cannot think of another year that has been this hectic. And most of it was good. Most of this year has been very, very good, except for the last 4 weeks. You know that saying, when it rains, it pours. The last few weeks, I struggled big time. And I strongly believe though that in life we're gonna have ebbs and flows, and I believe that when we have ebbs, when we have challenges in our life, this is God, the universe, source, whoever you believe in, is giving us a learning lesson. And I think that my learning lesson for this year, for the past 4 weeks, was whoever you believe in was showing me, look how far you have come. Look how far you've healed your nervous system. Because in all honesty, even though this year has been really, really good, I think in the past, with my nervous system, if my nervous system was dysregulated, I think I would have been a complete hot mess this year. I think I would have just been a hot mess. And in all honesty, I don't feel like I was a complete hot mess. I actually feel like this year I handled it with a lot of grace, and I think I handled it very, very well. And even when like really good things happen, if enough good things happen, it can be stressful. Um, Good things can be stressful, and especially with a lot of events. Like there was a lot of events this year. And so I feel like I was able to really handle all of this year because I regulated my nervous system, because mental health is super important to me. And I want to tell you something that happened last week. So last week, and I have to tell you, this week, oh my gosh, this week has been a good week. This week has been really calm. This week has been really mellow, and I'm hoping the rest of the weeks of 2025 will be the same, and I'm hoping 2026 will be a calm year. But last week, I had two things happen that were not pleasant. Two things, and um, the first thing, and they were tied together, so it was kind of like a two-in-one thing. So it was like they were tied together. But the first thing that happened, um, I think if it happened in the past, I think if it happened when my nervous system was dysregulated, I would have gotten my feelings hurt a decent amount. But when this happened, I was actually thinking like, wow, yikes. Okay, but then I was like, this isn't on me, it's on them. So I really shouldn't have my feelings hurt. And I was mostly able to drop it. I was able to drop it mostly. And then the next day, something else happened. And oh my gosh, if I had my nervous system dysregulated, this would have totally crushed me. I would have been crushed. My feelings would have been so hurt. And I won't lie. I won't lie. Um, it did sting a little bit. What happened stung a little bit, but I wasn't totally crushed, like I know I would have been when my nervous system was dysregulated. And instead, I was able to put it in a different perspective. And instead of having my feelings be hurt, instead of, being completely crushed, I was actually more worried. I'm like, where is this, where's this coming from? And so, um, and I would have, in the past, I would have totally shut down. But instead, what I did is I picked up the phone and I called a family member and I'm like, hey, what do I do in this situation? Like, I have no idea what to do. And this person was able to give me some really great advice and it made me feel so much better. So, this just kind of shows me the difference between a regulated and a dysregulated nervous system. So, before I really get into this episode, can I tell you guys a secret? I'm going to tell you guys a secret. I'm not going to be talking about this a lot, but if all goes planned, I am being called to, I want to write a book all about how to holistically regulate the nervous system. And I want to start writing this in January. So in January, I'm going to start writing a book all about how to regulate the nervous system holistically. And I plan on putting a lot more details about this in that book that I am going to be able to share with you in this episode. But I cannot wait. I really cannot wait. People always tell me that I should write a book. I think keep telling me that I should strictly write an herbal book, but I am called to write one about the nervous system. And so, yeah. All right, so let me talk about my nervous system. What caused my dysregulation? I don't want to go into details, but I'll be vague about it. I'll be very vague. So, in the past, I have had a lot of drama, a lot. I think there are some people that thrive on drama. I am not one of them. I am not a person that thrives off of drama. I like peace. I like calm. Um, I once heard this person say that she believes that even people that say that they love or that they hate drama, that they can't stand drama, that they secretly like drama. I disagree with that because I am one of those people that I hate it. I will avoid drama like it is the plague. But in the past, I had a lot of drama in my life. I had a lot of stress in my life. I had some trauma. Um, I've had some, not a lot, but some trauma. Um, but I think it was the drama. And I don't know if you guys believe in astrology. If you do, I have a lot of Libra in my chart. I have a stellium in Libra. And so as Libras, we like our peacefulness. If you're not into astrology, this is like one of the only woo-woo things that I plan to talk about in this episode. But I like my peace. I don't like I hate drama. And so I think with all the drama, with a lot of the stress, with a lot of, well, with a little bit of trauma, that caused my nervous system to become dysregulated. Also, in my opinion, I don't believe our society teaches us how to handle stress, and they teach us that stress is a necessity, which I disagree with. I talk about this all the time. I've talked about this in a couple of other podcast episodes before, but I think we should keep talking about it. So bear with me here for a moment. But um, when I feel like people are in competition for who could be the more stressed. And I don't notice this like on TikTok or Instagram, but I notice this on Facebook where some of my Facebook friends are talking about, who is more stressed, like it's a competition. And I'm like, oh goodness. Um, that's not something to, in my opinion, to brag about. And I think I think the reason why people do compete and try to brag about how stressed they are is because in our society, we have been taught that we're lazy. And people are terrified of coming off as being lazy. So then they're like, oh, to come to show that I'm not lazy, I need to prove that I'm stressed. But we're going to be talking more about this topic in a little bit. But I strongly believe that if you're stressed, that you're not able to um, take care of your responsibilities properly. But we'll talk more about that in a little bit. So, what were my symptoms of a dysregulated nervous system? I used to have severe anxiety. I have both agoraphobia and social anxiety, and they're still there a little bit, but they are like I have them so managed. Like with agoraphobia, I just get, right now, I get a little squirmish when I watch an outer space um, TV show or when I see something like a TV show that's underwater, like ocean. And so I get a little squirmish with that. Um, the social anxiety, I feel like I'm just a very awkward person, so I feel like I'm always awkward with people, but you know what? I like to embrace my awkwardness. Um, Another thing that, and I want to talk more about this later, but something that I think was like a trauma symptom, is I always feel like I have to be in a rush. I always have to move fast. I always have to get things done fast. I always have to be quick with everything. And I think this was my dysregulated nervous system. So I have been working, and I'm actually still working on this because I still see a little bit here and there that I could be working on it. I still rush a little bit here and there, but I've made mad improvements on is slowing down. I'm trying to slow down, which is just something I want to talk more about in a little bit as well. Oh my gosh, people pleasing. I used to be the biggest people pleasing, and I am proud of myself. I don't really consider myself to be a people pleaser anymore. Like um, if someone wants to, um, cause trouble in my life, I'm not trying to please them anymore to not and I feel like, I'm living my life the best that I can, and other people are trying to live their life the best that they can. And if it doesn't mesh, oops, that happens. That happens. But I'm not going to try to please people that don't please me either, if that makes sense. Also, I used to have no boundaries, and I actually this year, which I want to talk about more later, this year, I realized, oh my gosh, I have been setting boundaries without realizing it, and it's amazing. It's amazing. So I love it. All right. So, what is a dysregulated nervous system? So, I want to simplify it. I don't like using 50 cents words. We're going to simplify. This is the best way that I like to describe a dysregulated nervous system. So, um, people with a dysregulated nervous system at one point in their life or multiple points in their life, they were felt like they weren't safe. They had a situation that made them, or situations that made them feel like they were not safe. And then the the nervous system kind of got stuck in that situation or in that feeling of feeling unsafe. You got stuck in feeling like you're in fight or flight mode. Or if you're me, I never had to fight. I'm not a fighter. I'm a lover. But oh my gosh, my number one is flight. If I can, I will flight if I am feeling, um, anxious or anything uncomfortable, my first reaction is let's get out of here. Um, I am a big time flighter, but if I can't flight, I freeze. I freeze. And that is, how I was when I was dysregulated. Never much a fighter, but definitely a flighter and a little bit of a freezer. Um, or I would freeze. And I'm not a refrigerator freezer. Anyways, so um, but when they're in dysregulated, when they have a dysregulated nervous system, if you hear a bunch of noises, I apologize. I don't have a studio, and there are people walking around and opening doors and closing doors, so it's kind of jiggling my door a little bit. So I hope that doesn't come through too much. Um, but when you have a dysregulated nervous system, you're stuck in fight or flight, or you're stuck in survival mode. And we need to get you in rest and digest mode. So, yeah. And I do want to say that when you are um, a lot of people who have dysregulated nervous system, a lot of people don't know it. It's one of those sneaky little things. And you get other symptoms, and you don't even know that you have a dysregulated nervous system. And our society, I think, teaches us that a lot of the things that we feel when our nervous system is dysregulated is normal. And they're not. They're not normal whatsoever. Now, before we really get into, actually, no, we're going to talk about a few other things. So I want to talk about a few other things, but I want to say this really quick. So since I regulated my nervous system, does this mean that I'm perfect? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I have flaws, I have insecurities, and I will always have flaws and insecurities. Um, and I want to talk more about this later on in the episode too, but um, I don't believe there is such a thing as perfect. There is no such thing, and we'll talk more about that later. Um, do I still get anxious? Yep. Yep, but so do you. So does everybody else. We get anxious. It's just, I'm not stuck in anxiety anymore. Anxiety is far from running my life. Like it used to run my life, and it doesn't at all anymore. The reason that I get anxious now is, well, one, our world is a little crazy. Two, I'm human, and every humans get anxious. Um, but but yeah, it's just it, I'm trying to figure out where I want to go from here. But yeah, I'm not perfect. I have insecurities. I still get anxious, but I can just feel that my nervous system is calm. I can feel that, I'm not reactive. Like if something happens in my life, I can kind of sit back and be like, oh, okay, what are we going to do about this? Instead of instantly reacting, instead of instantly wanting to flee, instead of instantly wanting to freeze, I can sit back and be like, okay, how are we going to handle this? All right, let's handle it. But yeah, all right. So let's talk about what does a dysregulated nervous system look like, and we're just going to be scratching the surface here. And there is going to be so many other symptoms, but something that I've been talking a lot about in my lives the last few weeks is I believe, like I don't know about other countries, but in the United States, I can tell you that I believe that for health wise. And every person's probably going to have a different opinion on this, but my opinion is I believe that our three biggest issues for health wise in the United States is gut health, having vitamin and mineral deficiencies, and having a dysregulated nervous system. If these are out of whack, it's going to cause a lot of issues that a lot of Americans are having. So, yeah. All right. So, physical symptoms. What can a dysregulated nervous system cause? What physical symptoms can a dysregulated nervous system cause? So, we have chronic fatigue, migraines, and oh my gosh, I got the migraines. Oh, hormonal imbalances, definitely digestive issues and gut issues. The brain and the gut, they are connected. The brain is part of the nervous system. Body aches, muscle tension, right? Histamine intolerance. This is something that I have been learning about, that I may do another episode on histamine intolerance because I think a lot of people are starting to struggle with histamine intolerance. Sleep, like insomnia. So a lot of people are experiencing insomnia. Something that I just learned recently is autoimmune disorders. The more I research autoimmune disorders, I think there are two things that cause autoimmune disorders, and I think it's both together. I think it's gut issues and nervous system issues. I think they're both causing autoimmune disorders. So I strongly believe that if you have an autoimmune disorder, you should look at both cleaning up your gut and regulating your nervous system. Hair loss. Definitely, and skin issues. So like psoriasis, if you have psoriasis, this can definitely be caused by a dysregulated nervous system, and so much more. When it comes to emotional and mental symptoms, how you can tell if you have a dysregulated nervous system is overthinking. So overthinking, anxiety, panic, irritability, feeling unsafe in your body, feeling unsafe when you are safe, being easily overwhelmed, feeling disconnected with yourself, brain fog, and memory issues. Now, behavioral symptoms, so things that you may be doing because you have a dysregulated nervous system, is people pleasing, difficult setting boundaries, avoidance, overworking, or shutting down. And either you are emotionally eating, so you're eating too much, or you're not eating enough. So, yeah. All right. So let's talk really quick about what happens when you do heal your nervous system. So what happens? Because a lot of people probably think, oh, if I heal my nervous system, I'm going to feel great right away. Sorry, I hate to tell you that's not true. Let me tell you something about me, and I have a point to this. So I am the type of person that if a traumatic situation happens, um, I am one that can handle that traumatic situation with ease until it's done. And then when the traumatic situation is done, then I freak the heck out. I'm like, "Oh my goodness," and I freak out big time. Except for when my grandma fell. My grandma fell a few years ago, and I immediately freaked out. But every other time I've been in a traumatic situation, I can handle it and I handle it with ease. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, when it's done, I'm a mess. I'm a hot mess. And I think the nervous system is that way too. I think the nervous system, so when you're in a traumatic experience, your nervous system is like, oh, my job is to get this person through this really tough time. And so when you're going through traumatic experience, more than likely, you're probably feeling okay. You're probably feeling like um, you're dealing with everything fine. Even when you're in fight or flight mode, or when you're in survival mode, you still might be feeling like when you're that I'm sorry, you might feeling that you're okay. So when you're in survival mode, you might still feeling like you are okay. But when you start to heal, your nervous system, then your nervous system might freak out. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie because I want you to be prepared when you start to heal your nervous system. You might get some side effects. And I think the biggest one is tired. You might become super tired all the time. You might become fatigued all the time. So you may start experiencing chronic fatigue. And when you're healing your nervous system, this is normal. This is normal. And it's almost kind of like your nervous system is being like, oh, okay, we're it's now safe to rest. We're healing now. I can rest. And so it's going to kind of demand that you start to rest yourself. So this can mean that you may be yawning more. It may mean that you need more sleep. It may mean that you have low motivation. This was me big time. Like when I was in it, and I do think a little bit has to do with perimenopause too. So I want to give that little disclaimer, but I think the combination of perimenopause and healing my nervous system, I did not want to do anything. I didn't feel depressed. Like I felt like I was happy. I felt like I was content. But at the same time, I wanted to do nothing. All I wanted to do was sit on the couch and read a book. That's all I wanted to do, which is so not like me. Like I like to be out in nature, hiking, paddleboarding, and um and socializing with, the few people that I have in my life that I love spending time with. But I didn't while I was healing. I wanted to do nothing, but I was happy doing nothing. I was content. I think a lot of people probably could have looked at me and been like, oh, she's depressed. But I wasn't depressed. I was just not motivated, if that makes sense. Happily not motivated to do anything. So, increase in awareness of emotion. So you might get more in tuned with your emotions. So you may become a little bit more emotional. You may become a little bit more irritable because you're tired, right? Um, and this is all, I think, really normal. Also, I believe that if your nervous system is not, and I should have talked about this earlier, if your nervous system is dysregulated, your body has a really hard time healing. So like if you have gut issues, you may not be able to heal your gut issues until you heal your nervous system issues. So maybe if you start healing your nervous system, you might also get some digestive upsets, but that digestive upsets might be meaning that your digestive system is healing. Another thing that I experienced, which was really weird, with mine, I want to go back to the tiredness, is my body was demanding that I rested. And if I refused to rest, while my nervous system was healing, I got a migraine. My body was like, oh, you're not resting. We need you to rest. So here's a migraine to force you to rest. And I was like, dang it. So just keep that in mind. All right, so let's start with our tips. How can we start regulating our nervous system? I'm going to start with the thing that I started with. This is what I started to regulate my nervous system, and that was I changed my nutrition. Nutrition matters to the whole body, including the nervous system. And when I say this, I don't want you to stress out. We're going to talk about how you can change your nutrition without stressing out in a moment, but we we want you to start eating as healthy as possible because a lot of the foods out there right now is junk. It is junk, and that toxic junk is causing havoc on the whole body, including the nervous system, including the brain. If your nervous system is not getting or is getting toxic stuff in it, that's going to cause a dysregulated nervous system. Um, Making sure that you're getting plenty of vitamins and minerals. Even if you're taking a multivitamin, you can still have deficiencies. So even if you're taking a multivitamin, I strongly recommend that you get a vitamin, like a full plant panel. A lot of doctors are only doing like a small panel. I think it's important to get a full, complete vitamin and mineral panel to see if you have any deficiencies. And this can definitely cause um, vitamin and mineral, um, or not vitamin mineral, this can definitely cause a dysregulated nervous system. I talk more about this. One of the very first few episodes I did, I want to say it was like somewhere between my fifth and 10th episode I did on this podcast. I talked about the importance of vitamins and minerals. You guys should go check that out because um, it's really important for the whole body. And I actually talk a lot about the nervous system in that episode. So, but yeah, eating as healthy as possible. How can we do this without, I'm getting ahead of myself. One other thing that I do want to talk about before I talk about we could do this without stressing ourselves out is I think that there's also a big difference between eating healthy and eating healthy between or for your own body. So, over a year ago, I was trying to eat healthy the way the society taught me how to eat, the way that my school taught me how to eat. And I just kept getting sicker and sicker and sicker. I was getting migraines like crazy. Even though I was eating super healthy, I was gaining weight, getting puffy. Um, and so. I learned, which I'll talk more about in a moment, but I learned more how to eat best for my body in the season that I am because I have a funny feeling that my body won't always want me to eat the way I'm eating right now. So in the future, I'll probably have to tweak my diet a little bit, and that's okay. But I realized that, yeah, over a year ago, I was eating healthy, but I wasn't eating healthy for my body. I wasn't giving what my body needed, especially in the season of this life that I'm in right now. So yeah. So I highly recommend that you figure out what foods work best for your body. All right, now how can we change our nutrition without totally stressing out about it? Because It can be very stressful, and this is going to make things worse. If we change our nutrition and if we're stressed about the changes that we're making, it defeats the purpose of what we're doing. So we want you to be able to calmly change your nutrition without being super stressed. So my first tip is to do baby steps. That's what I did. Like before I was successful at getting healthy, I kept trying to change my nutrition overnight, and I failed time and time again because I kept trying to do it overnight. Give me just a sec here. I had to get a drink of water real quick. Um, I tried to do it overnight and it just didn't work. And then I started doing like baby steps. Let me give an example. So the first thing that I did is I got rid of soda. I used to be a big soda drinker, and um, I want to say 10 or 11 years ago, I quit drinking soda. And I actually did this for like I didn't do anything else for a month. Like for a month, I'm just like, let's just quit drinking soda. And so I waited a month before I made another change. And what's funny is like I did like a few weeks after I just quit drinking soda, I drank soda and I got the worst headache ever. And now I associate soda with headaches. I'm like, oh, if I drink a soda, I'm gonna get a headache. And so that's one of the things that I do now. Um, and then um I started like very, very slowly, like a week or two at a time. I started bringing more like whole foods into my diet, like more fruits, more vegetables, nuts, like very, very slow. Like this was like months, if not even years of doing. And then I very, very slowly started getting rid of the things that I felt were harming my body. Like I would take my least favorite junk food and I would get rid of it. Another thing is I would take my favorite junk food and see if I could make it into a healthier version. Let me give you an example. I have the world's sweetest tooth, the world's greatest sweet tooth. I love my chocolate. I love my chocolate. So I used to eat like things like Snickers and Three Musketeers and, stuff like that. Chocolate is just so delicious. I love chocolate cake. Um, Anything chocolate I loved. And so what I decided to do is when I started getting healthy, is look for healthier versions. You know what I did for the longest time is RX bars. I heard they're not as healthy as they claim to be, so I stopped doing that a long time ago. But I started consuming chocolate RX bars thinking that they were healthy. And I did that for a little while. And then I a few years later, I discovered ochos. So ochos are in a oh, and I can't speak. An organic, there we go. An organic um chocolate candy bar. And so I did that. And then I stopped doing that. And for a while, I did Hue. There's a chocolate bar called Hue. It's HU. I started doing that until I got to a point where I'm just like, I just don't want chocolate. I still want it every once in a while. And when I do, um, have it every once in a while now, I like to go organic as best as possible. And then on special occasions like birthdays, I will have a piece of cake. So I don't totally deprive myself, but for the most part, on an average day, I don't consume sweets anymore. Um, but this, I'm not kidding you. This was like a 10-year process to get me here. It was a 10-year process to me to slowly weed out sweets and chocolate. So, baby steps are key when you are changing your nutrition, and we don't want you to stress out. All right, another rule, or another tip, it's a rule, that I love to recommend for my clients is when they're trying to start getting healthy, is try to adopt the 80-20 rule, but don't stress about it. I had a client once, she stressed like she was trying to get to the exact 80-20. No, we guesstimate. We guesstimate or estimate, whichever way you want to talk about it or how you want to say it. We estimate 80-20. So roughly 80% of the time, we are going to be eating as healthy as possible. And then um, roughly 20% of the time, we eat healthy. Um, and then if you ever feel like you got a good handle on the 80-20 rule, like you're like, I got this. I totally, totally have this. And if you feel comfortable, then maybe you can add or go to like an 85-15. So like eat as healthy like 85% of the time and then eat whatever you want to 15% of the time. And then if you get comfortable doing that, then you can move it to like 90-10. And then but this is, like I said, this could be baby steps. It's going to be a slow process. So, yeah. All right. So let me tell you what I'm doing for my diet right now. And this was a lot of trial and error to get me to this point. Um, we're all different, though. We are all different. I believe in bio individuality. But this is what's working best for me in this season of my life. And I feel like the reason that this is working best for me right now is because of perimenopause. But I am doing a high fat, high protein, low carb diet. And I have nothing against carbs. Nothing against carbs, except for my body at this moment seems like it's not doing well with carbs. So I'm just more really tapping in and trying to, like, what does my body need? And right now, my body is screaming at me that it needs fats. And unfortunately, this isn't avocados. It's not chia seeds. It's not flax seeds. It's not nuts. My body is not into that right now. Right now, my body is like, we need animal fats. So I am consuming as much animal fats right now. And so, yeah, and then I'm consuming electrolytes. So I'm doing electrolytes, making sure I'm staying hydrated, making sure I'm getting the proper amount of vitamins and minerals. I'm doing lots and lots of bone broth, and I'm putting fat in my bone broth too. So additional, and my body's like happy with that. Also, the way that I eat, most people eat 2 meals a day or 1 meal a day. I cannot do that. I keep trying, but my body seems to be super happy with me consuming smaller meals and like three smaller meals. So I eat three smaller meals, and that's what my body seems like. I'm gonna like not roughly like I'm not going to be harsh with my body, but gently I'm going to try to keep working on to maybe getting to 2 to 1 meals a day, because I think that would be awesome. I think that that'd be easier. But if I never get to that point, that's okay. That's okay. I am trying to do what my body wants to do. So why does nutrition directly affect the nervous system? If you are not eating right, um, this can cause issues with blood sugar. And if your blood sugar is out of whack, then your nervous system can be out of whack. So this um, the nervous or good nutrition can help to stabilize blood sugar. Good nutrition can also reduce inflammation in the whole body, including the nervous system and the brain. Um, it can also help to support hormones. I think that that's why I need a lot of fat. So, right now, I'm going through perimenopause, and um, what I have noticed is that the more fats that I consume, it's helping my hormones and my nervous system more and more. And I think that this is for a multiple of reasons. So we've been taught that cholesterol is a villain. We've been taught that cholesterol is bad. But do you know what progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone are made of? Cholesterol. They're made of cholesterol. And so, um, I feel like the more fats that I consume, the more it's balancing my hormones, but our brain needs fats too. So all of, it's helping with the brain as well. There is a gut-brain connection. The brain and the gut are connected, and they call the gut the second brain. So, oh my gosh, and it improves sleep. I have to tell you, I sleep like a baby. I I sleep so well. This is one of the things like I am so stoked about because my family, s- like a lot of people in my family struggle with insomnia, and I don't, knock on wood, knock on wood. But I think that that is because I eat healthy. Like the healthier I eat, the better I sleep. I've always noticed this, that when it seems like I'm eating healthier and healthier, I sleep deeper and deeper, and I fall asleep faster. I used to be, when my nervous system was dysregulated, it would take me a minimum of a half an hour to fall asleep, if not even an hour. Like it would be anywhere between a half an hour to an hour, that it would take me to fall asleep. Now, with me, like I swear, the healthier I eat, I can fall asleep now, I think, within 5 minutes. Within 5 minutes, I am out. And it has, I strongly think it has so much to do with nutrition. But also, something else that nutrition can affect the nervous system is it can help to fill in vitamin and mineral deficiencies. So yeah, now let's move on. I want to talk about something. We're going to kind of go to mindset now. So I want to move to mindset. I want to talk about my new favorite thing that I have been doing for the mindset. And I do want to give a little disclaimer on this. Actually, where do I want to start? Let me give you a theory. So let me give you a theory really quick, and then I'll give you my disclaimer. So my theory is everybody that has a dysregulated nervous system. We talked a little bit about this at the beginning of this episode, but everyone who has a dysregulated nervous system, at one point or points in their life, they felt like they were unsafe. And then they kind of got stuck in that feeling of being unsafe. So they got stuck in it. Even when they're safe, um, they don't feel safe. Now, this tip that I have for you, it's not going to work if you are not safe. So if you're not safe, then hold on this tip, and then do it when you are safe. And please find a way to become safe. We want you to be safe. But find um, but this is for people who are safe but feel like they're unsafe. And my little disclaimer that I want to give is this tip is going to sound woo-woo, but I like to look at it at a scientific angle. So I will explain this in a moment. But I love affirmations, but I believe that this can be very scientific, and this is how. This is how. Um, to me, the brain is one of the most powerful things in our body. Like all of our organs are super important, and I love all of our organs, and I cherish and am grateful for all of my organs for everything that they do. But I nerd out when it comes to the brain. Like, I took classes on anatomy and physiology, and I was so terrified. I'm like, oh my gosh, to me, the human body is such a magical thing. And I was so afraid to take anatomy and physiology classes because I thought that it was going to take the magic away, and it didn't. It actually did the opposite. It made the body seem more magical to me. And I'm like, how does the brain do what it does? Like, I just feel like the brain is so magical, but our brains believe what you tell it. So if you tell your brain over and over and over again, I'm sick, I'm sick, I'm sick, I'm sick, guess what? You're going to be sick. You're going to be sick. If you tell your body all the time, I'm stressed, I'm stressed, I'm stressed, I'm stressed, guess what? You're stressed. But I feel like we can use affirmations to rewire the brain. So to rewire the brain, we can use affirmations, and it's going to take time. It's going to probably feel awkward at first, but one of the things that I've been working on a lot over the past like year and a half is using affirmations to rewire my brain. And I do it with the safe. So I'm always telling myself, and I'm not only just telling myself, I'm writing this down because I think it's important to both say this to ourselves, but also write it down so we can see it. So both. Um, but I always am telling myself, I am safe, I am safe, I am safe, over and over and over again. I, um, and I don't just say that. I like to use this in other ways. So I like to say, um, I feel safe. I feel safe. And then I will like to look around, um, and I will be like, I see that I am safe. I see this. I see that I created, and I did. This is totally true. So something that I realized, this year, earlier this year, is I totally created myself a safe environment. My house is a safe place. We do not criticize each other. We do not bash each other. We can talk about uncomfortable topics, but respectfully. We respectfully talk to each other. There's no screaming, there's no yelling. Well, maybe every once in a great while, but every once in a while. But I look around and I'm like, oh my gosh, I created this safe place. And then I also go and say, my nervous system is safe to regulate. My nervous system is safe to regulate. I am safe to relax. So I'm always trying to do these affirmations, not because I have a woo-woo, which I love woo-woo stuff. I love woo-woo, but I like this as more of a scientific angle to rewire the brain. Because I feel like if we tell our brain something over and over and over again, it's going to believe us. So I journal every morning. Every morning I journal and I'm like, I am safe. I feel safe. I see that I'm safe. My nervous system is safe to regulate. Now I write over and over again, my nervous system is regulated. My nervous system is regulated. My nervous system is regulated. I do this all the time. I also will put in there, I am healthy, I am happy and healthy. So, whatever message you think you and your body needs, do affirmations so you can rewire your brain to start believing that it is safe, that you are safe to heal, that your gut is safe to heal. So you can even say, it is safe for my gut to heal. Oh, another thing, for people with autoimmune disorders, I have an opinion, a theory. I have a theory that people with autoimmune disorders, that this is both with the gut and the nervous system, but part of why I think it's the nervous system is that the nervous system became in hypervigilant mode, and this caused the immune system to become in hypervigilant mode. And when um, your nervous system will start to calm, that this will hopefully bring your immune system to start to calm, and hopefully this will, at the very least, decrease your um, your autoimmune disorders, or your autoimmune symptoms, your autoimmune system. So we want to calm it down. And so another thing that I do, and even though I technically don't think I have a di or a autoimmune disorder, I think that my immune system is somewhat in hypervigilant mode to making it to where I have a lot of food sensitivities. So I keep telling myself it is safe for my immune system to calm. It is safe for my immune system to calm. And I picture it calming. I try to picture my body calming. It is safe for my shoulders to relax. It's safe for my neck to relax. It's safe for my jaw to relax. And I, so I love to write this in my journal, but I also like to um, use it in other amounts or in other areas. So let's say that I'm in a very busy place. I hate crowds. Crowds do not are not my favorite thing. But if I'm in a crowded store, I keep telling myself, I am safe. I am safe. I am safe. And it works. I swear it works. It takes a while for it to work, but it does work. It's not gonna, this is not something that's gonna happen overnight. But it's one of the things that has had the biggest impact. And with this safety, I've realized that I have created boundaries in my life. This is a great way because I've realized that unintentionally, I have booted people from my life that did not bring me safety, like people that decided that they wanted to cause a lot of drama in my life. I'm like, you're out there, you're not welcome here anymore. People who wanted to disrupt my peace, I either have booted them or I deal with them in very, very small amount of time. Like I don't purposely contact them, if that makes sense. Um, so. And then what else? I had another thought and I just lost it. What else? What else? So, oh, and then I was like, you know what? I want to be a safe person for other people too. But, but here's my thing. I'm setting a boundary for this. I'm setting a boundary. I am going to be a safe person for you as long as you're respectful to me. If you're respectful, I'll be a safe person. You can tell me anything and everything. I won't judge you. I am one of the least judgmental people I think you will meet. Um, and so I. I will not judge anybody. And I want to be the safe person unless you disrespect me. And then I have to say, you know what? I said that I was one of the least disrespectful, but if you disrespect me, then I kind of judge you. I'm like, you disrespected me, so I I am gonna judge you and I'm no longer your safe person. And I'm not going to, hurt them in any way. Like that's not what I mean. Like I'm not going to hurt them, but um, I don't want to be around them if they're going to be disrespectful, so they can go somewhere else. Somewhere else. Um, so, but yeah, definitely try to find ways to convince yourself that you are safe. We need to get you unstuck out of that feeling of being unsafe. Oh, and one more thing. So I had a client who didn't have like major like traumas, like most traumas, like abuse or any of that is what I'm trying to say, but she had medical abuse. So she felt unsafe in her own body. Like she felt like her body was failing her. So we could do things like saying something like, my body is always trying to put me in homeostasis. My body's not trying to hurt me. These symptoms are a message, not to harm me. Um, these symptoms are trying to tell me that I need to make changes in my life. My body's not trying to cause me harm. So we want to kind of go something like along that line, if that makes sense. All right, let's talk about some other mindset stuff. I have this story I want to tell. So, I think stress management is super important. So, to me, I feel like stress management, self-care are very, very close together. So, I'm going to combine them and we're going to be pretty much talking about stress management, self-care together. But I'm going to just call it stress management. So, I think stress management is super important because we're always going to have stress in our life, but we need to figure out how to handle the stress. We need to know how to manage the stress that we have. So, I want to tell a story. Um, I love this story. This is something that happened to me 24 years ago, and I can still remember this story 24 years later because it had a huge impact on me, a huge, huge impact. And I was a brand new mom, but I feel like this story that I have, the moral to the story could be for people who are new moms or for people who don't have kids or people who have older kids like I do now. Men, this could be for men, this could be for women, this can be for anybody. This message is for anybody, even though this happened to me when I was a brand new mom. So, I had just given birth to my oldest son, and when he was like 3 or 4 days old, I took him to the pediatrician for the first time just for a checkup, and the pediatrician looked him over and he's like, "Well, your baby is happy and healthy." And then he sat down and he was getting all comfy, and I was like thinking, "Oh my goodness, shouldn't this appointment be just about over?" But he's like, "Now I want to talk to you." He's like, "I want to know how you're doing. How are you doing?" And I'm like, "This is kind of weird. We're here for my baby, and he's asking me how I'm doing." But I'm like, "I'm good. I'm doing well." And he's like, "Okay, well, I need to tell you something." He's like, "The most important thing that you need to do is to take care of yourself." And I probably made a face that he's probably seen a bajillion times. And I didn't say this, I just thought this. So I was thinking, what is up with that? I'm like, no, the most important thing is not for me to take care of myself. The most important thing is for me to take care of my brand new baby. I need to take care of him, and not me. What is this guy talking about? And I think he saw the look on his face because he paused and then he started back up again. And he goes, "The reasoning that it's so important for you to take care of you is if you don't take care of you, you're not going to be able to properly take care of your baby. If you don't take care of yourself, you're probably going to get sick. You're probably going to get irritable. You're probably going to become scatterbrained, and you're not going to be able to properly take care of your baby. You're going to be too tired. You might get snappy. He's like, you're probably going to snap at your husband. So he's like, the number one thing you need to do is take care of you so you can take care of your baby." Oh my gosh. I was like, that is so amazing. I love that he told me this. This is a story that I tell all the time because I think people need to hear this. And I don't care what stage you are in your life, what gender you are. This is important. We all need to take care of ourselves because if we don't take care of ourselves, we can't properly take care of our responsibilities. Do you know what happens when we're stressed? When we are so stressed out, it depletes us of our vitamin C. We all know that vitamin C is part or it supports our immune system. So I don't know if you've ever been so stressed out, um, and then you got sick and you're like, darn. Now I'm sick. Of course, of course. I'm stressed and now I'm sick. That's not a coincidence. That's not a coincidence. You're stressed, you're sick because you depleted your vitamin C. So, um, stress management is so important. And what was I going? I had a thought and I lost it again. I lost it. I lost it. Hold on. Oh, and then I know where it was. If you're stressed, like I know a lot of people who are so stressed. And to me, the most stressed out people I know are also the most scatterbrained. Scatterbrained people are not able to be productive. They are not very productive people. And so I was saying at the beginning of this episode that people are in competition to see who could be more stressed. I want to, and I keep making this offer, and nobody has taken me up on this offer yet, but I'm going to keep offering this until somebody takes me up on this offer. I want to compete with someone who could be the most calm but efficient person. I want to compete with someone. I want to challenge. I want to be calm and efficient. So what can we do for stress management? I like to separate stress management in two ways. So there's the not so fun way. So the not so fun way is where we make sure we're eating right, we're taking our vitamins and minerals, or we're eating really nourishing foods. We're staying hydrated. We're getting plenty of sleep. We're doing exercise. So we're taking care of ourselves. So the not so fun way. And then the second way is the fun way, which is corny and cliche. I'm going to give that disclaimer, corny and cliche, but it is to fill your cup. This is really important. And actually, I've talked to a couple of trauma coaches, and they actually say instead of filling your cup, overflow your cup, overflow it so you are so happy, you are so calm, you are so productive that it's overflowing and filling up out to everything. So, what does this mean? It means and it's going to be different for everybody. This is going to be different for everybody. What makes you happy? Do what makes you happy. Do what genuinely makes you happy, not what you think society, not what you think, society told you makes you happy, but really tap in and do what makes you happy. I could tell you what makes me happy. So it make what recharge, and I feel like when we do what makes us happy, it recharges us. So what makes me happy is nerding out on herbalism and holistic health. Love it. I love nerding out and geeking out. I love hiking. I love paddleboarding. I love being out in nature. Um, I know this could sound corny, but I love driving out into nature, going for long drives. I feel like I'm on a dating app right now. But these make me really happy. I love reading books. These all make me happy, being around loved ones and laughing with loved ones. This all recharges me. I love people. I love being with people who are like-minded and just going into really deep conversations and nerding out on stuff. Oh, I just love that. So, some people love to paint, some people love photography, some people love jogging, some people love dancing. Um, my mother-in-law, she's really into those. Oh, I just lost the name of it. Where they dot, is it dot numbers? Oh my gosh. I want to say dot by number, but that doesn't sound right. But hopefully you guys know what I mean. But she's really into that. I think that is her like stress management. Even just watching a comedy, I think is amazing. So what makes you happy? Maybe it's cooking. Maybe you could cook a really good, nourishing meal. So yeah. All right, let's move to our next mindsets. And this is perfectionism. So I really want to talk about this because our society has taught us that we have to be perfect, which is BS. BS. I don't think that there is such thing as perfect. I bet if you and I sat down and you asked me um, what I thought was gonna be like my definition of perfect, and I asked you what your definition of perfect is, they would be completely different. The There is no such thing as perfect because we all have different ideas of what perfect is. Um, and so instead of trying to be perfect, we try the best that we can. So we do the best. So instead of stressing out that you're not perfect, because guess what? None of us are. None of us are perfect. No. Um, oh, I just thought of one more thing. Hold on. I want to give myself a note so I talk about this. Um, But for perfectionism to me does not exist. So we do the best that we can. Can you at the end of the night say, you know what, I did the best I can? If the answer is yes, you did good. You did good. If the answer is no, what can you do tomorrow to make sure that you do the best that you did tomorrow? Sometimes the best that we could do, because sometimes we need to rest. You could be like, the best I did today was rest. And sometimes that is amazing. Sometimes it's like, yes, you needed that rest. Or sometimes you'd be like, I kicked ass. I may have, and excuse my French there, I'm so sorry. But maybe you're like, I kicked some butt. And what but you could say I did it messy though. So I did it messy, but guess what? You did it. You kicked some butt. You did it messy, but you did it. So yeah, and so right now, like I have a business and I actually um run my business very messy. I don't do things perfect whatsoever. Even this podcast episode, I keep catching myself making mistakes during this episode. That's okay. This episode is not perfect. This is an imperfect message. I've always told you guys, I don't think I'm a natural speaker, but I have a message, so I want to spread it and I'm going to do it imperfectly. So this message is I'm sharing my message with you guys imperfectly, and that's okay. That is okay. But hopefully you guys can look over that it's not perfect because none of my episodes are perfect. All of my episodes have mistakes and I do ums a lot. I'm trying to fix it, but I don't know how to fix my ums, so there's the ums. So but we're not perfect, and so we just do the best we can. All right, let's go to the next one. This one is going to sound really cheesy, really corny, but I swear this is one of my favorite things for the nervous system is honor your feelings. So something that I decided recently is I want to honor my feelings, but focus on the positive, not be toxic positive or not do toxic positivity, but I want to honor my feelings, but focus on the positive. So your feelings are there for a reason. So if you're angry, be angry. If you're sad, be sad. If you're happy, be sad. I think the newer generations are doing much better, but the like my generation and before, we sucked at this. And I personally believe that when we don't honor our feelings, when we don't feel our feelings, this can cause a lot of anxiety. It can cause a lot of stress. It could cause a dysregulated nervous system. It can cause addiction. Because I think people, because we're taught not to feel, we've been taught not to feel, we numb ourselves. We're taught to numb. No. And so when we numb ourselves, we get stressed. When we numb ourselves, we get anxious. When we numb ourselves, we get addicted to food, um, to shopping, to drugs, to alcohol. But we need to honor our feelings. Oh, there's so many quotes about anger online that I disagree with. I strongly disagree with so many quotes that are online. and it frustrates me to no end. Um, if you are mad, be mad. I almost feel like one of the reasons for anger issues is because that people are um, are not able to express their anger. Be angry. Just don't hurt anybody and don't be destructive. So if you're angry, say, you know what? I am angry. I am mad, and that's okay. And the other person, there might be another person that they're allowed to feel the way they feel, and they might say, I don't care. That's okay for them to say that too. But you could say, I am angry, and honor that anger. And if you have to, find a healthy outlet for your anger. Punch a pillow, punch a bed, yell, shout. Well, I don't like to scare my neighbors, so every once in a while I'll go for a drive out in the middle of nowhere and I'll scream in my car so nobody has to hear it. Um, it maybe go to a thrift store and buy a bunch of plates that you don't care about, like a bunch of cheap plates, and throw the plates. You'll have to clean up the mess later, but throw the plates. Do something. Find a healthy outlet for your anger that's not hurting anybody or that's not destructive. So, yeah. All right, let's. Oh, I'm going ahead of myself. If you're sad, be sad, but don't dwell on it. I feel like some people dwell on their sadness. Maybe try to give yourself a time frame depending on what happened. Give yourself, okay, I'm going to give myself X amount of time to be sad. Um, and then if you're happy, oh, I had a client once, she goes, I can't be happy because there are other people in this life that are not happy. Happiness, energy, actually, I should say energy is contagious. Energy is contagious. If you're happy, be happy. Be happy and spread that happiness. And if there's other people that are miserable in this world, that's on them. That's on them. They need to make their own choices to make themselves happy. You be happy, spread that happiness. So, yeah, honor your feelings. I know it sounds corny, but I think it's really important. And then, but I also like to focus on the positive. So, I like to honor my feelings. So, the last 4 weeks have been really hectic. So, you know what? I was like, you know what? The last 4 weeks sucked. I was sad. I was a little mad. I was frustrated. I honored my feelings, but then I tried to look at a silver, the silver lining. What could I have learned from the last 4 weeks? What good came out of the last 4 weeks? And so, and it showed me how far I've come with my health. It showed me that my nervous system really is regulated. So I absolutely love that. All right, let's go to our next mindset, and that is conquering our fears. One of the things that stressed me out a lot when my nervous system was dysregulated is I would look at all these people that look like they were fearless. They look like they were confident. And I'm like, why am I the only person or one of the very few people on this earth that has a lot of fears? Why is this? And then, um, and I thought it was no fair. I'm like, this is no fair. And then I started healing my nervous system and I healed my anxiety and I came out and I'm like, oh my gosh, I had anxiety. And some of the people that I deemed to be the most confident people, they reached out to me and they said, oh, I've been struggling with anxiety too. And I'm like, you? Oh my goodness, I cannot believe that you were struggling with anxiety. And then I started because I wanted to build a business. So I started really researching entrepreneurs. So I started, really studying them, researching them, really listening to what they had to say. And they all, like, almost like I really needed to hear this. Like, they all at once started to talk about this. And it was amazing because they all started to talk about how they have fears. They have fears, but they do things that make them scared anyways. And so I no longer want to be fearless. I want to be courageous. And I think that there's two types of fears. I think there's the fear like the, oh my gosh, I really want to do that, but I'm so scared. And then there is the, oh, that makes me scared, but I have no interest in doing that whatsoever. So the first one, the one that is where I'm like, oh, I really want to do that, but I'm so scared, or I think I should really do this. Like not doing this is holding me back, but I am scared. Um, I have been working over the last few years to conquer my fears on this. Like speaking, me speaking, like, oh my gosh, if I would have told myself, or how do I say this? Now I'm stumbling over my words. If you would have told me 15 years ago that I'm on social media, that I'm speaking in front of lots of people, that I have this podcast and I'm speaking, I would have told you that I was crazy because this is not a really comfortable thing for me to do. Me speaking is not natural to me, and I do get nervous sometimes. I do get scared, but I do it anyways because I have a message and I want to share it. And so doing stuff like that, there are some times where I'm like, oh, this is really imperfect. Like I have a TikTok or Instagram video, and I'm like, this is imperfect. Should I redo it? But if I don't have time to redo it, and I post it anyways, so I am nervous to post imperfect things, but I'm gonna do it anyways. Um, and I think people like to see that I'm imperfect too. So just to kind of go back on that a little bit. But and then there's the fear where it's like I have absolutely no interest, like zero, like zilch. And I am fine with not doing that. Like skydiving. I don't feel like I not skydiving is holding me back in any way, and I it's a fear that I don't think I'll regret not doing that on my deathbed. So I don't want to go skydiving. I don't want to go bungee jumping. And I think when I'm on my deathbed, I'll be okay with that. But I want to make sure that when I'm on my deathbed that I can say that I conquered my fears that really mattered, if that makes sense. And I got to tell you, doing something while you're terrified, like I was so terrified, but I did it anyways, is the best feeling. It is actually the best feeling. Like it's such a proud moment. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud. I sucked at this. I did it. I sucked at it. I was horrible at it, but I did it, and I'm so proud of myself. That is one of the best feelings ever. Um, all right, so something else mindset that I've been working on, and this is something I'm still working on, is slowing down. I think in this world, we need to slow down. We need to appreciate the little things. We need to stop and look at the little things. I think we take our life for granted, and we are not looking at what's really important. So, slowing down is so important, especially for the nervous system. So we need to slow down. That was just going to be short and sweet. This next one is going to be kind of harsh. I'm going to give love, some tough love. But one of the things that I think hurts the nervous system, that keeps the nervous system dysregulated, is the victim mentality. Do you have victim mentality? Like really start looking into your life, really look into your behaviors, look at what you're doing. Do you have the victim mentality? My son and I had this conversation the other day. And so my son was telling me, he's like, one of my biggest pet peeves is when people want to be the victim. And I told him, I'm like, I hope that I'm not being egotistical when I say this, but I hope that I taught you that because I had anxiety. I had severe anxiety, and I could have totally got stuck in victim mode with my anxiety. And I, even though anxiety is hereditary, so I have lots of family members who have anxiety, even though they, it's genetic, I still didn't want anxiety to run my life. So I worked really hard. When I'm gone someday, I want my loved ones to be like, I don't want them to say, when I die is, oh, she had lots of health problems. Poor Stacy. She had to deal with so much. We feel so sorry for Stacy. I don't want to be one of those people. I want to be someone that when I pass, that someone has said, "Oh my goodness, she like the rest of the world, like just like everybody in this world, she had challenges, but she overcame her challenges. She um conquered her challenges. She, tried to make the best of her challenges. She kept trying to better herself, and that she was a strong person that healed herself. I want to be known for that. Also, I do want to say this. I had a couple of people in my life that they strongly, like they were like gung ho on wanting to be the victim and they wanted me to be the villain. And when my nervous system was dysregulated, I was like, no, I cannot be the villain, I cannot be the bad guy. And so I fought it for years and years, probably a couple decades. I fought, to not be the bad guy. And I'm like, I do not want to be the bad guy. And these people kept making them the victims and they kept trying to make me the bad guy until I finally was like, you know what? Fine, fine, fine. You guys, you guys can be the victim. I'm going to let you guys be the victim. I'll be the villain, but I'm going to be the villain from afar. I am going to no longer associate with you guys, and you guys can be the victim, and I'll be over here minding my own business, being the bad guy, being the villain. And so sometimes it's okay. Sometimes it's okay to be the villain in other people's eyes, as long as you're not hurting anybody. Like I'm not purposely out there, hurting people, but yeah. All right, this next one is self-love. So I I I think people have a hard time with self-love because our society sucks. I'm gonna say that. Our society has taught us some really bad things, and our society has taught us that if we love ourselves, we're egotistical. I actually think that self-love and egotistical or being egotistic are two different things. So let me describe what my opinion on egotistical is. I think people who have big egos, people who are egotistical. They are people who pretend they love themselves, but they really don't love themselves. They are people who pretend that they're God's gift to the world, but they have lots of insecurities. And in these insecurities, they're trying to bring you down to their level. So they're like, I am miserable. So I need to pretend that I'm better than you, and I'm going to bring you down to my level. Someone who truly loves themselves, who truly like loves themselves, they don't want to love themselves by themselves. They want other people who loves themselves with them. So people who truly love themselves, they can be like, hey, you know what? I'm beautiful, but so are you. I am smart, but so are you. I am amazing, but so are you. I want, or I'm healing and I can help you heal too. Or we want people to be kind of in the same energy as we are, if that makes sense. So people who truly love themselves are not going to try to, like they're already up. And when whatever level you are, you're trying to bring people to your level. So if you truly love yourself, like truly, you are up pretty high. You want other people to come up high with you. So you are going to be loving yourself and getting people to love themselves as well. So there is a difference between self-love and egotistical. And so I think it's really important to love ourselves. And this is something that I have over the years have been really working on. And I can honestly say that I love myself. I know this is going to sound egotistical, but now I look at myself in the mirror and I look and I smile at myself and I'm like, hello, beautiful. And so I tell myself that every day. And it's not that I think that you're ugly. No, I think you're beautiful. I think you're beautiful. I can say I'm beautiful, but I think you're beautiful as well. I can say I think I'm smart and you're smart too. Why is it in this world, if I say I'm beautiful, does that make it you're not? I think that's our problem. Like we somehow we've gotten in our mind that if we say good things about ourselves, that we're saying bad things about other people. That's not true. That is not true. And sometimes it's really hard for us to start off with self-love. So this is what I like to start. This is how I started. So when I started um, he- trying to go on my self-love journey, I more went towards my body. Like I went more of what I appreciated for my body. So I am like, I appreciate that I'm healthy. I love that, or I'm kind of getting ahead. I used to do like dear body notes. So I'd be like, dear body, thank you so much for, taking me to from A to B. Thank you so much for listening to music or allowing me to listen to music. Thank you for allowing me to see beautiful views and my loved ones. Thank you for allowing me to hug my family and friends. Thank you so much. And so that's where I started. I really started with, you know, doing love notes to my body and really going with that. And then I just kind of increased it until um, I love myself now. I know that sounds cheesy and corny, but I want other people to love themselves too. So I really recommend that you start working on self-love so we can love ourselves together. That sounded kind of pervy, but I hope you guys know what I mean. All right, let's keep going. So I want to be short and sweet with this. So exercising is really, really important for the nervous system. Oh my gosh. I don't do well with I don't do well with medication. I don't do well with Mary Jane either. But what I think is my natural Xanax is after I go for a long hike. When I'm in the car coming home, I'm like, I think it's my Xanax. I think it's my Mary Jane. So exercising is so, so important. And then we have herbs. I don't want to go into detail on the herbs. There's so many herbs that can help us out. If you want to, go look at the episode 3 before this. So 3 episodes before this, I did an episode where I went into details on herbs that are really good for the nervous system. So you can check that out. So, oh my gosh, there's so much more I want to talk about, but I think maybe we'll either do a part 2 or we can wait for my future book to come out. But I think I'm going to stop it here. I feel like that this episode is already long enough. Um, but there is so much more to this that I want to talk about, and we'll do it another day. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. But this is most of what I have done to help to regulate my nervous system. And so, yeah. So now I am like, I have very, very little anxiety, like minimal. Like I get anxious like a normal human being, if that makes sense. I barely get migraines anymore, fewer body aches. I feel safe. I'm less reactive, like so less reactive. I don't react anymore. It seems like I'm setting boundaries. I feel like my digestion is getting a lot better. I don't people please anymore, and I do have more energy, so I really like that. It took me a while to get more energy, but I do have more energy. So I am gonna hop off this episode, and then I'm going to go do a bonus episode for our membership, and I'm gonna talk about my routine that I do to regulate my nervous system. So to make sure that it's managed every single day. So let me know if you have any questions on this, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. All right, guys, bye. I hope you loved this episode. If you did, please make sure to follow Wild Yarrow Apothecaries Podcast on your favorite podcast platform and leave me a review. Do you want to hear more about this episode? Join our Herb of the Month membership, where I add a bonus part of this episode. In this membership, we also have a lot of PDF files, a lot of videos, and every 3 months that you are a member, I send you 3 herbs, and there's so many more benefits. Come check it out. Come nerd out with us. And thank you for listening to the Wild Yarrow Apothecaries podcast, and have a great day.